Alright folks, I got another video for you here. This was an interesting one. I thought this one was kind of cool. Random quote-unquote targets. What I call quote-unquote anything targets. This is the surface of Mars. And so I want to go through the session here. And then I want to go back to a session that I had done earlier this year that was from the Mars session. And I found it really interesting what took place. And then I'm going to kind of go into some theories of what I think might be going on here. So here I am, sit down, I'm ready to do my thing. There's distractions in here. You can hear my cat is meowing. I gotta work with distractions so that I work with distractions. I don't let it hinder me. I need to work with distractions because it adds an extra layer of what I'm looking for, which is that the remote viewing, quote unquote, is taking place in a different part of my brain. So the part of my brain dealing with my cat meowing sounds coming through my ear canals is being processed in a different part of my brain than where the quote unquote remote viewing is being processed. That's my theory about it. So I'm going through and I'm starting to get some interesting ideographs here that are beginning to provide me through my proprioceptors some experience of this range of time and space. So I get a pattern complete in my brain, a neural net cycle has completed, and I'm getting a pattern complete of the Grand Canyon. Okay, no problem. I don't know. I can't trust it at this point because the dimensional sensations haven't fully started yet. Even though these ideographs are really, I'm interested in these ideographs are indicating something is taking place. I'm not exactly sure what, because I'm not getting a dimensional sensation yet. The stereognosis elements are not beginning to formulate for me yet. So I'm going to keep going. Get my proprioceptors involved. The cat's already down there meowing. I was trying to catch that. Okay. The dimensional sensation is beginning to formulate. It's a land. The gestalt is land. And there's something kind of going on here. Real basic, something going on here. The notion is of open land. So now the dimensional elements are coming in. My proprioceptors are doing their job. And I'm starting to experience it. So my confidence level is going up here. And something is going on. In this area. And I'm enjoying it at this point. So I'm just sitting in it for as long as I want to. There's the land. it is, there it is. Getting my dimensional sensations are in there. It reminds me of the Southwest. That kind of land. Which looks kind of like that. There's sand and rock, that kind of thing. I'm going to keep going. Get a few more radiographs out of there. Whoa, that was a good one. That was a good one. At this point, the ideographs are settling in for me now, because the dimensional sensations are now formulating. So they've done their job. Now I can go with a bit more rendering of the space here. Kind of move along here. Kind of drawing this thing out. A pattern complete. What was that? Oh, Niagara Falls. Yeah, like that. This ridge here. I had to pattern complete that out because I didn't get any sensations really of water flowing. There's that ridge. That felt pretty good. I liked it. Liked the rendering. That's pretty much it. Okay. Once I was done and I got the feedback, like, oh man, this is Mars. Okay, that's pretty cool. And I was like, man, that really looks like how I drew Mars here. For the Mars project here with this big square thing. There's that kind of ridginess there too. But the interesting thing was that when I was doing this, I wasn't even thinking of this. It didn't even come up into my mind. I would have pattern completed that. Oh man, I'm getting, I'm reminded of the drawing that I did of the surface of Mars from that previous session from a couple of months ago or something like that. Didn't even cross my mind. But there it is. Basically the same type of thing. This kind of land gestalt with ridges and all this kind of stuff going on there. So I thought that was pretty cool. So then I had to start to contemplate this in terms of how my brain might be translating this from this remote location, from this land gestalt of ridges and that kind of thing. And how might it do that? My theory is that my ongoing theory is that we have a selector mechanism and we have an attractor mechanism. The selector mechanism, I theorize, is in the medulla oblongata. A mechanism within that part of our brain that has the ability to autonomically access a range of time and space as it exists in a state of gravitational radiation or gravitational wave or micro gravitational waves. and microgravitational radiation. That is my theory. That in that part of our brain is a selector mechanism of ranges of time and space. Somehow, automatically, autonomically. That's what I found in my own experimentation of the parts of my brain that I felt were becoming active when an actual remote viewing was taking place. That's what the medulla oblongata does. It controls autonomic functions. Things you don't have to think about. Breathing and heart rate and all those types of things. The other part that isn't involved again with autonomic systems is the pons. Again, these are parts of the brain stem. Very primitive parts of the brain. And that was the first place that I went to when I began to do my experimentation using blind quote-unquote targets to work them. And when I felt the remote viewing was taking place, that's when I turned my full attention to the parts of my brain where I felt the stimulus was active. That's what drew me to the areas of the brainstem, like the pons, the medulla oblongata, cerebral peduncle regions. And the attractor mechanism then goes to a different part of the brain, in the hippocampal formation, dentate gyrus, CA3 region, those areas, where memory association then is applied. That's my theory, is that the state of the input is acquired in these regions here, this region here, and this region here. The translation of that radiation, that gravitational radiation, that gravitational wave, then moves to the dentate gyrus, CA3 region, where it goes through the process of pattern separation and pattern completion. The importance of the pons, though, in my theory, in my opinion, is the potential formulation of a simulated version of the selected range of time and space. A simulated version. Meaning that I am of the opinion, in my current running theory, that the individual doesn't go anywhere. The process takes place in the brain. The medulla oblongata, from our will alone, from our will and intention to remote view under blind conditions, I'm given a quote-unquote target ID, I'm going to remote view, stimulates the autonomic system in the medulla oblongata to select that range of time and space in the state that it exists in, within a gravitational wave, gravitational radiation. And then the translation process begins. The element of the pons, why I feel that it's important, is in providing the neurotransmitters required for that simulation, particularly acetylcholine, which is what the pons produces for vivid dream in REM state here. here. Pons involve regulating sleep, including REM sleep, and the regulation of acetylcholine within the REM sleep for the production of vivid dream experiences. So my theory on that is that the pons, along with the medulla oblongata, the pons specifically though, in the chain of events, might be the part of the brain where the beginning formulation of the simulation begins. In the CA3 region, in the dentate gyrus, memory comparisons are applied to the translation of that state through memory comparison. And then we begin like this, here. This is created. So, am I saying I went here, I'm part of my consciousness, left my body and went to Mars, looked around, and came back and drew this? I'm of the opinion that that's not how it works. That's my opinion. That's not how it works. I would need eyeballs active to go and do that. I am of the opinion that is not how it works. I am of the opinion the individual doesn't go anywhere. The brain has the mechanism to access that range of time and space. Select it. Begin the translation. Produce a type of simulation that is assigned to memory comparators to build the simulation. That is my current theory, and why the pons is so important in that process. So anyway, those are my thoughts on a Saturday night. This is my fun for a Saturday. This is how I have fun on a Saturday night. So anyway, hope you find that interesting. Many more to come.